I need you to understand something before I tell you what I did. I wasn't some bitter wife looking for a reason to destroy my marriage. I was the woman who woke up at 5 in the morning to make fresh croissants for Sunday brunch because my mother-in-law once mentioned she missed the ones from her childhood in Paris. I was the one who spent 3 weeks hand-addressing 200 invitations for my sister-in-law's engagement party. I learned French. Not from an app, but from a tutor. 3 times a week for 2 years. Because Vivian, my mother-in-law, would sometimes slip into French at dinner parties, and I was tired of feeling like an outsider at my own family table. My name is Leah. And for 5 years, I did everything right. I married James Beaumont when I was 26. He came from the kind of money that doesn't announce itself. Old wealth, they say. The type that whispers instead of shouts. Summer homes in the Hamptons. Skiing in Gstaad. Birthday parties at Michelin-starred restaurants in any country they fancy. I came from foster care. Bounced between homes until I aged out at 18. I struggled to put myself through college working 3 jobs. There were no family photos on my side of the wedding. No mother to help me pick my dress. No father to walk me down the aisle. Just me. When James proposed, I thought I'd finally found it. A family. People who'd show up for me. People I could call when things got hard. His mother, Vivian, hugged me at our engagement party. Diamonds glittering on her fingers as she squeezed my shoulders. "You're part of the family now, darling," she said with that practiced smile. I believed her. God, I believed her. I spent 5 years proving I deserved to be there. Hosting their holiday dinners. 20 people around my dining table. Turkey, ham, 3 types of potatoes because James's father was particular. Homemade pies cooling on every surface of my kitchen. Vivian would sit at the head of the table, accepting compliments like she'd spent the day cooking instead of the woman who actually had. I organized James's father's retirement party. 300 guests. I rented the venue, hired a live jazz band. Speeches I stayed up for 3 nights writing because I wanted them to be perfect. His sister Margot posted about it on Instagram. 57 photos. I appeared in none of them. But her caption thanked the family for making it magical. I flew to Boston once a month to help James's grandmother sort her medications. She had dementia and couldn't remember my name most days. Called me Sarah, which was apparently a housekeeper they'd had in the 70s. But I went anyway. Because that's what family does. Right? Then small things started bothering me. I noticed the way Vivian would introduce me at charity galas. "This is Lisa, I'm sorry, Leah. James's wife." Like my name was an afterthought. Like I was an accessory he'd picked up along the way. The way Margot planned girls' weekends to the Berkshires, to Napa, to Martha's Vineyard. She never invited me. "Oh, it's just the sisters," she'd say with a laugh that wasn't quite a joke. You understand, right? I wasn't a sister. I was married to her brother. There's a difference, apparently. James never defended me. "You're being sensitive," he'd say when I'd bring it up. "They love you. But love isn't something you have to earn for 5 years straight." Then last month, everything changed. James asked me to find a contract in his home office. Some paperwork for a client meeting. I opened his laptop. The password was saved. And there, in the corner of his screen, was a notification. France trip, final headcount. A group chat I wasn't part of. My fingers were shaking as I clicked it. 42 messages. Guest lists. Seating charts. Villa assignments. Who was flying private? Who needed a car from the airport? I scrolled through all of it, looking for my name. It appeared exactly once. Isabel had written, "What about Leah?" 3 dots appeared. Then Vivian's response, "Space is limited. Family only this time." And James. My husband. The man who promised to love me in front of 200 people. "She'll understand." That's it. 3 messages to erase me. But that wasn't the worst part. Scrolling up, I found photos. Recent ones. From 2 weeks ago. James was at a park I didn't recognize, pushing a little girl on a swing. She had dark curls and a smile. My husband's familiar smile. The one that made my stomach curl. She was maybe 7 or 8 years old. She was laughing in that pure way children do. Vivian had commented on the photo, "She's gotten so big. Our little secret is growing up." Red heart. Our little secret. I felt something crack inside my chest. But I kept scrolling. Then I found an email thread James had forwarded to his mother 2 years ago with the subject line, "Charlotte, support agreement." Charlotte. His daughter. From an ex-girlfriend named Rebecca Morrison. I sat there for 3 hours. Didn't move. Didn't cry. Just read through years of emails. Payment confirmations. $2,000 a month sent to an account under Rebecca's name. Birthday presents purchased from our joint credit card. Dance recital tickets. School supply lists. Parent-teacher conferences James attended alone. Everyone knew. His mother. His father. His sister. Probably cousins. Probably friends. They'd been hiding her from me for 5 years. And now they were bringing her to France. While leaving me behind. They thought excluding me would break me. Instead, it freed me. And what I did next? Let's just say her perfect French birthday dinner became the most expensive mistake she ever made. If you're ready for a story about betrayal, power moves, and a revenge so calculated it made international headlines, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. You're going to want to see how far I took this. James came home that evening around 7. Loosened his tie as he walked through the door. Same routine as always. Kiss on my forehead. Jacket on the hook. What's for dinner? I had made mashed potatoes and chicken. His favorite. I served it with a smile. Poured his wine and asked about his day. Busy, he said, cutting into the chicken. But good. This is delicious, babe. Babe. Like I was a child being placated with a pet name. I'm glad you like it. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then he said, casually, like it didn't matter, so the France trip is coming up. 2 weeks from Saturday. I took a sip of wine. Sounds nice. Yeah, should be good. Mom's really excited about it. I bet. He looked at me then, searching my face for something. Suspicion? Anger? I gave him nothing. You're okay with me going, right? I know it's a while, but... Of course, I said. Smiled. You should be with your family for something like this. Relief washed over his face. Thanks for understanding. I knew you would. That night, after he fell asleep, I went back to his laptop. Downloaded everything. Emails. Payment records. Photos. Text messages he thought he deleted, but that lived forever in cloud backups. Saved them to 3 separate drives. Encrypted them. Stored one at my office. One in a safety deposit box. One with my college roommate across the country. Then I called a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. Catherine Chin. She'd handled a senator's wife's divorce the year before and made national news. All the assets he tried to hide, she found them. She was ruthless and reliable. I found her through a referral from a coworker who'd gone through a messy divorce. She's expensive, my coworker had warned. But she's worth every penny. We met at her office 2 days later. Catherine was 50. Sharp eyes with sharp pursuit. Tell me everything, she said. I did. The emails. The payments. Charlotte. The France trip. The group chat. She took notes in a leather portfolio. Didn't interrupt. When I finished, she looked up. This is textbook fraud. Using marital funds for a child you didn't know existed. Can I use that? Oh, honey. She smiled. It wasn't warm. It was predatory. We're going to bury him with it. How long? If you want to move fast? I can have papers ready in a week. Do it. I left her office feeling lighter and with more clarity. But I wasn't done. The next morning, I went to our bank. Withdrew $50,000 from our joint savings. It was my legal right as a spouse. The teller didn't even blink. I opened a new account at a different bank. One James didn't know about and deposited every penny. Then I made some calls. My college roommate Sophie lived in San Francisco. She married into tech money. We'd stayed close despite the distance. I need a favor, I said when she picked up. Name it. I need to buy something. Big. And I need it done quietly. Silence. Then, how big are we talking? 50,000 big. Jesus. What are you buying? Revenge. She laughed. I'm in. What do you need? I told her. She was quiet for a long time. Then, you're absolutely insane. I know. I love it. I'll make some calls. The France trip wasn't just any dinner. It was at Le Moscandil, Michelin-starred restaurant in the hills above Cannes. Exclusive. Expensive. The kind of place you need reservations 6 months in advance. Vivian had reserved their entire private terrace for her birthday. 60 guests. 5-course tasting menu. Champagne fountain. String quartet. I found all this out from the group chat I wasn't supposed to see. So I called the restaurant. It took 3 tries to get through to the manager. My French was rusty but functional. Bonjour. I'm interested in reserving your main dining room for an event. I'm sorry, madam, but we are fully booked. For the same evening as the Beaumont party. Silence. That would be highly unusual. How much? I'm sorry. How much to reserve the entire main dining room for that evening? More silence. I could hear him calculating. Weighing. Wondering if I was serious. Madam, the cost would be 30,000 euros. I'll wire half today. Half the day before the dinner. That is, I would need to speak with ownership. You have 2 hours. He called back in 90 minutes. We accept your terms, madam. Rousseau, I lied. My mother's maiden name. The one thing I had left of her. Madame Rousseau. We accept. But I must ask. One more thing, I interrupted. The Beaumont party on the terrace. To access it, they'll need to walk through the main dining room. Correct? Yes, that is the only entry. Perfect. Don't change that. I could hear the smile in his voice. Of course not, madam. The next 2 weeks were a blur. I acted normal around James. Better than normal. Excited even. I'm planning a girls' trip while you're in France, I told him over breakfast one morning. He looked up from his phone. Oh yeah? Where to? Maybe Barcelona. Haven't decided yet. Relief flooded his face. That sounds great. You deserve it. The words sounded stale. Like he was granting me permission to exist without him. I booked a ticket to Nice in France instead. Same day as his flight. Different airline. Same destination. Hired a private investigator. I need surveillance on my husband from the moment he lands in France. The PI, a woman named Monica with 20 years in the business, didn't even blink. Infidelity case? Worse. Hidden child case. She nodded. Retainer is 5,000. Daily rate is 800 plus expenses. Done. What are you hoping to find? Everything he thinks I'll never see. I also hired a PR consultant. Emma worked in crisis management. Helped celebrities bury scandals. Or sometimes, create them strategically. I need media contacts, I told her over coffee. French and American. She tilted her head. Intrigued. What kind of story? The kind people screenshot and send to their friends. I'm listening. I told her enough. She grinned. This is either going to be brilliant or a complete disaster. I'm counting on brilliant. Then you're going to need better photos than iPhone quality. I know a photographer in Nice. Discreet and professional. Works with AFP and Getty. Book him. 2 days before James left, I watched him pack. Expensive luggage. Tailored clothes. The Rolex I'd given him for our anniversary. I'll miss you, he said, kissing my forehead before he left for the airport. It was 4 in the morning. Still dark outside. I'll miss you too. He climbed into the car service. Waved through the window. I waved back. And then I went back inside. Showered. Changed. Grabbed my own suitcase. And left for the airport. Same destination. Different intentions entirely. I landed in Nice 6 hours after James. The Mediterranean sun hit me as I walked out of the airport. It was warm and bright. I'd booked a room at Hotel La Parousse. Cliffside property. 5 stars. Views of the bay to Angie's that looked like a postcard. Checked in under my maiden name. The room was beautiful. Balcony overlooking the water. King bed with linens that probably cost more than most people's rent. I didn't care about any of it. I was here for one reason. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Monica, my PI. Target arrived at Villa 90 minutes ago. 15 guests already present. Sending photos now. The images loaded one by one. James climbing out of a black SUV. Designer sunglasses. Linen shirt. Vivian on the villa steps. Arms open. That practice smile. Margot with a champagne flute already in her hand. And then, a little girl with dark curls. Running toward James. He scooped her up. Spun her around. Charlotte. I stared at that photo for a long time. She had his nose. His smile. The way her eyes crinkled at the corners when she laughed. She was beautiful. And she'd been a secret for 7 years. I set the phone down. Walked out onto the balcony. The sea stretched out forever. Blue and endless and indifferent to everything happening on land. I stayed there until sunset. Planning. Thinking. Breathing. The next 2 days, I watched them. Not from close up. Monica handled that. She sent updates every 4 hours like clockwork. Day 1 was the private beach. Cabanas with white curtains billowing in the wind. Waiters bringing champagne and fruit platters. James building sandcastles with Charlotte. Vivian reclining under an umbrella like a queen holding court. Monica got video. James teaching Charlotte to swim. He was patient and gentle. A version of him I'd never seen. The father he was when I wasn't around. Day 2 they went shopping in Cannes. Margot and Charlotte walking the Croisette. Matching sundresses. Ice cream cones. Laughing at something I couldn't hear. Monica got receipts. James paid with our joint credit card. For €100 at Bonpoint. Children's designer clothes. 200 at a toy store. Another 300 at a jewelry shop. A bracelet for Charlotte. Engraved with her initials. All of it charged to money I'd helped earn. That night, I called Rebecca. I'd found her number weeks ago in James's old phone records. Saved it. Waiting for the right time. She answered on the 3rd ring. Hello. Hi, Rebecca. This is Leah. James's wife. Silence. Long and heavy. Then, I didn't know he was married? Or that he'd never told me about Charlotte. Both. Her voice was small. Scared. I need to meet with you, I said. Tomorrow. In Nice. I don't think that's a good idea. Rebecca, I'm not angry with you. But we need to talk. Please. Another pause. Okay. Where? We met at a cafe near the Promenade des Anglais. She was younger than I expected. Late 20s, I guess. Pretty in an understated way. She sat down across from me. Hands folded. Defensive. I didn't wreck your marriage, she said immediately. I know. That seemed to surprise her. James and I dated in college, she continued. I got pregnant senior year. He wanted me to terminate. I refused, so he left. She said it flatly. Like she'd told this story before. Like the edges had worn smooth from repetition. When Charlotte was born, a lawyer showed up at my apartment. Said he represented the Beaumont family. Offered me money. A lot of money. In exchange for keeping quiet. How much? $200,000 up front. $2,000 a month in child support. I did the math. 7 years. $168,000 in monthly payments. Plus the initial payment. Over $250,000. I was 22, Rebecca said. Broke. No degree and with a newborn. I took it. I don't blame you. She looked up. Met my eyes for the first time. Why are you here? Because I'm going to expose them. All of them. And I need you to trust me. Why should I? Because they've been using you. Paying you to stay quiet while they pretend Charlotte doesn't exist in their real lives. Rebecca's jaw tightened. What do you want from me? I leaned forward. I want you and Charlotte to come to France. As my guests. I want you at Vivian's birthday dinner. You're insane. Probably. But I'm also the only person who's ever tried to make Charlotte visible. So are you in or not? She stared at me for a long time. Then she nodded. I'm in. The next day, I went to Le Moscandil. The drive up from Ken was stunning. The restaurant itself was understated. Stone building. Ivy climbing the walls. The kind of elegance that doesn't need to announce itself. The manager, Philippe, met me at the entrance. Madame Rousseau. Welcome. We walked through the main dining room. Tables set with white linens and crystal that caught the afternoon light. Everything is arranged as you requested, Philippe said. The room is yours for the evening. And the Beaumont party? They will access the terrace through here. He gestured to French doors at the back of the dining room. As always. Perfect. Don't change the layout. He smiled. Knowing and complicit. Of course not, madam. I handed him an additional envelope. For your discretion. He didn't open it. Just tucked it into his jacket pocket. It has been a pleasure, madam. I spent the next 2 days preparing. Flew Rebecca and Charlotte to Nice. Put them in a suite at my hotel. Bought them clothes. The kind Vivian would recognize and respect despite herself. For Charlotte, a dress that was age-appropriate but unmistakably expensive. Soft blue. Made her eyes look even brighter. For Rebecca, something elegant. Tailored. Powerful. For myself, custom Chanel. Black. Structured. The kind of dress that makes people straighten their spines when you walk by. I called in every favor I had. Sophie flew in from San Francisco. My former boss, Patricia, who'd mentored me through my 20s, she came from New York. Rebecca's sister from Vermont. Friends from college. From work. From the life I'd built before James. 20 people total. None of them family by blood. All of them family by choice. The night before the dinner, James texted me. Hope Barcelona is amazing. Send pics. I was standing on my balcony in Nice. Looking at the same sunset he was probably watching from the villa. I texted back, having the time of my life, red heart. Then I turned off my phone. Tomorrow night, Vivian Beaumont would walk into her birthday dinner. And find me already there. In the seat she'd refused to save. I arrived at Le Moscandil at 6:30. 90 minutes before the Beaumont party. The sun was starting to dip. Golden light filtering through the cypress trees. The kind of evening that makes you believe in magic if you're stupid enough. I wasn't. Rebecca and Charlotte were already there. Waiting in the car until I gave the signal. Charlotte looked nervous. Kept smoothing her dress. What if they don't want me there? She asked Rebecca quietly. I knelt down in front of her. Took her small hands in mine. Then they're fools. And we'll eat an amazing dinner anyway. Deal? She nodded. Tried to smile. Deal. My guests started arriving. Sophie first. Flew in that morning. Hugged me so hard I lost my breath. I can't believe you're actually doing this. Too late to back out now. Patricia came next. Elegant as always. She'd taken a red-eye from New York. This is either brilliant or insane, she said. Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. One by one, they arrived. 20 people who'd crossed oceans and time zones because I asked. Not because of my last name. Because of my first. By 7:45, my dining room was full. There was laughter, wine, and warmth. The photographer Emma had hired moved through the room, documenting everything discreetly. Charlotte sat between Rebecca and Sophie. She was shy at first. Then Sophie started showing her photos of her own kids on her phone, making her laugh. I stood near the French doors, waiting. At exactly 8 o'clock, I heard them. Voices in the corridor. Vivian's laugh. High and practiced. The sound of someone who's never been denied anything. Margot's voice. Already tipsy from pre-dinner champagne. James talking about the wine selection. Playing sommelier like he knew anything beyond expensive labels. Philippe, the manager, was guiding them. Right through my dining room. The only way to the terrace. Vivian entered first. Cream silk gown. Diamonds at her throat and wrists. Hair swept up in a way that probably took 2 hours and a professional. She was holding court, mid-sentence about something. Didn't even look at the dining room. Until she saw me. I was standing in the center of the room. Black Chanel dress. Red wine in a crystal glass. Surrounded by 20 people who'd chosen to be there. Her face went white. Then red. Then white again. Leah? Her voice cracked on my name. Every person in her party stopped. Turned. James froze in the doorway. His face cycled through emotions like a slot machine. Confusion. Shock. Fear. What are you doing here? I smiled. Calm. Cold. In complete control. Having dinner, Vivian. It's a restaurant. People do that. Behind her, I could see the others. Margot. James's father. Cousins. Friends. The ex-girlfriend Lauren. All of them staring. Margot pushed forward. Always the first to attack. This is completely inappropriate. What's inappropriate, I interrupted, is excluding your brother's wife from a family event. But here we are. James found his voice. Leah, we should talk. Privately. No. We're past private conversations, James. I set down my wine glass. Gestured to Charlotte. She was sitting at the table. Hands folded in her lap. Looking small despite the expensive dress. Everyone, I said, projecting my voice. I'd like you to meet someone. This is Charlotte. James's daughter. The silence was immediate. Absolute. I could hear someone's champagne glass trembling in their hand. Gasps rippled through the Beaumont party. Not from everyone. Just from the ones who didn't know. The extended family. The friends. The plus ones who'd been told this was just a birthday celebration. I watched their faces. The realization. The scandal registering in real time. Vivian's carefully curated image cracking like dropped porcelain. Did you all know? I asked. Voice still calm. That James has a 7-year-old daughter he's been hiding? That his family has been paying her mother to stay silent for nearly a decade? James stepped forward. Stop. This isn't what? True. I pulled out my phone. Pulled up the bank statements I'd photographed. $2,000 a month. For 7 years. From our joint account. The one I helped fund. I zoomed in. Turned the screen toward them. $168,000 in child support. For a child I didn't know existed until 2 weeks ago. Vivian tried to salvage it. This is neither the time nor the place. Really? When is the time? When would you have told me? Next year? 5 years from now? Never. I looked at James. You gave me no seat at your table. So I bought my own. Then at Vivian. You wanted family only. Well, here's your family. All of it. Even the parts you tried to hide. I turned to Charlotte. She looked scared. Confused. Like she wanted to disappear. Sweetheart, none of this is your fault. You deserve to be celebrated. Not hidden. My voice softened. Just for her. You are not a secret. You are not a mistake. You are a person. And you deserve better than this. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. Rebecca put an arm around her. Then something happened I didn't expect. Charlotte stood up. Walked across the dining room. Straight to James. Daddy, she said quietly. Why didn't you tell people about me? The room held its breath. James opened his mouth. Closed it. No words came. What do you say? How do you explain to a child that you were ashamed of her existence? Vivian tried to intervene. Charlotte, darling, this isn't the time. Why not? I interrupted. She's family, isn't she? Or is she only family when it's convenient? One by one, people from Vivian's party started moving. Not leaving. Coming into my dining room. A cousin I'd always liked sat down at one of my tables. I had no idea, she said to no one in particular. I'm so sorry. James's college roommate followed. Then another cousin. Then one of Vivian's friends, a woman I'd met exactly twice. She sat down. Looked at Vivian. This is disgraceful, Viv. I'm ashamed I came. Within 20 minutes, half of Vivian's party had defected. Sitting at my tables. Eating my food. drinking my wine, leaving Vivian standing in the empty doorway to the terrace. Her birthday dinner in ruins. Her perfect image shattered. She looked at me with pure, undiluted hatred. I raised my glass. Happy birthday, Vivian. She turned and left. Didn't say another word. Margot trailed behind her, loyal to the end. But James stayed. Tried to approach me 3 times. Each time, one of my guests blocked him. Sophie. Patricia. Rebecca's sister. Finally, he gave up. He sat at the bar, ordered whiskey. Watched his daughter laugh with strangers who treated her better in one evening than his family had in 7 years. I sat down next to Charlotte at some point. She was eating chocolate mousse, getting it all over her face. Is this okay? She asked me quietly. The dessert. Being here. I took her hand. You should have been here from the beginning. She looked at me with those big eyes. Thank you for inviting me. And that's when I cried. Not from anger. From something else entirely. The dinner ended around 11. Most of Vivian's original party had either left entirely or joined mine. Charlotte fell asleep with her head on Rebecca's shoulder around 10:30. Exhausted and full. James was still at the bar. Philippe brought me the bill at the end of the night. Everything was perfect, I told him. The pleasure was ours, madam. I left him a tip that made his eyes widen. Thank you for your discretion. I have seen many things in this restaurant, he said quietly. But tonight will be remembered. The photographer sent me the images that night. Hundreds of them. Charlotte laughing. Rebecca relaxed and looking at her daughter with love. My friends surrounding me like armor. And the Beaumont family, scattered, shocked, exposed. Emma, my PR consultant, called at midnight. The photos are perfect. Are you ready? For what? For this to go viral. I thought about it. Thought about Charlotte. About the life she'd have after this. Only send the ones that tell the truth. Nothing that makes Charlotte look bad. Understood. By morning, we were everywhere. French gossip blogs first. Then British tabloids. By noon, American media. Secret child exposed at billionaire's birthday dinner. The wife they tried to erase just bought the table. Hidden daughter finally acknowledged in dramatic French restaurant confrontation. My phone exploded. We need to talk now. It was James. Blocked. Margot, you've destroyed this family. Blocked. Vivian's lawyer. This constitutes defamation and harassment. Forwarded to Catherine, my lawyer. She called me 30 minutes later. Laughing. They want to settle. The divorce? Already? The publicity is destroying them. James's firm is pressuring him. Vivian's charity is fielding calls. They want this to go away. What are they offering? Everything. Full split of assets. Your legal fees. And they want you to sign an NDA. No. No. No NDA. The truth stays public. Charlotte deserves that. They won't like it. I don't care what they like. Catherine was quiet for a moment. You're sure? You could get a lot more money if you agree to silence. I don't want their money. I want my freedom. And I want Charlotte to grow up knowing she was never the secret. They were the problem. Okay. I'll draw up terms. The settlement took 6 weeks. James agreed to everything. 50-50 split of all marital assets. Charlotte's trust fund fully funded. $200,000. She'd get it at 18. A formal, written apology. Signed and notarized. And full custody rights for Rebecca with James paying increased child support. No NDA. The truth stayed public. I stayed in France for 3 weeks total. Didn't go back to Nice. Rented a cottage in Provence. Small village. Lavender fields that stretched forever. Spent my days painting. Reading. Breathing. Called Rebecca and Charlotte twice a week. They'd gone home. Back to Vermont. But things were different now. Charlotte knew the truth. And James was actually showing up. Weekly video calls. Planning visits. Being a father. Fear of exposure is a powerful motivator. James tried to visit me once. Showed up at the cottage somehow. He had tracked me down. I didn't let him in. Leah, please. I need to explain. There's nothing to explain. I was scared. I made mistakes. You made choices. Every single day for 5 years. He looked broken. Good. I loved you. No. You loved that I never asked questions. Never demanded space. Never expected you to choose me. That's not fair. Neither was hiding your daughter. So I guess we're even. He left after that. I never saw him again. Vivian sent a letter. Handwritten. Formal just like her. Probably took her 3 drafts. I'm sorry for how we treated you. You deserved better. I burned it without reading past the first line. Some apologies come too late. And some bridges are better as ash. I flew home 6 weeks after France. My apartment felt different. Smaller somehow. Like I'd outgrown it while I was gone. James had moved out. He took his things, left the furniture. There was a note on the kitchen counter. I'm sorry for everything. I hope someday you can forgive me. Jay. I read it once. Then I threw it away. Forgiveness wasn't something I owed him. The divorce finalized 3 months later. It was quick. Clean. No drama. I got half of everything we'd built together. The house sold. Assets divided. It was more money than I'd ever seen in my life. More than I'd ever dreamed of having as a kid, bouncing between foster homes. I could have been bitter that it took a divorce to get it. Instead, I was grateful for the freedom it bought me. I moved to a new city. Boston. Somewhere without memories of James in every corner. Got a new apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Hardwood floors that creaked. Windows that let in morning light. A kitchen where I cooked for myself and no one else. The job offers started coming soon after. Turns out, people noticed what I'd done in France. Not the scandal part. The strategy part. A marketing firm in Boston called. We like people who know how to make a statement. I took the job. Marketing director. Good salary with a better team. No one asked about my ex-husband. They cared about what I could do now. Not who I'd been married to. Rebecca and I talked every week. What started as necessary communication became real friendship. 2 women who'd been collateral damage in James's cowardice. Charlotte asks about you constantly, Rebecca told me one night on the phone. Yeah, she wants to know when you're visiting again. I flew to Vermont a month later. Took Charlotte to a museum. Then to lunch. Then to a bookstore where I let her pick out whatever she wanted. She chose 7 books. I bought all of them. My dad never takes me to bookstores, she said in the car. Then we'll make it our thing. She smiled. Gap-toothed and genuine. I like that. I went to therapy. Every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Unpacking 5 years of making myself small. Of seeking approval from people who'd never give it. Of mistaking tolerance for love. You weren't trying to be accepted, my therapist said one session. Then what was I doing? You were trying to earn something you already deserved. Belonging. Love. Family. Those aren't things you earn. They're things freely given. Or they're not real. That hit differently. I started dating again after a year. It didn't work out. Different life goals. But it was nice while it lasted. Nice to remember I was more than someone's discarded wife. A year after France, I went back. Not to Nice. To that village in Provence. The cottage I'd rented. This time I brought friends. Real ones. Sophie flew in from San Francisco. Patricia from New York. We cooked. Hiked. Drank wine on the terrace while the sun set over lavender fields. No one mentioned James. No one needed to. One night, Sophie asked, "Do you regret it?" The public revenge. I thought about it. Really thought. I regret that it was necessary. But not that I did it. Would you do it again? I'd do it louder. We laughed until we cried. Charlotte turned 9 in October. Her birthday party was at Rebecca's house. Just family and a few school friends. I sent a gift. A charm bracelet. Each charm meant something. A heart for love. A key for unlocking doors. A phoenix for rising from ashes. Rebecca called after the party. She hasn't taken it off. No, she wanted me to tell you something. What's that? She says you're the bravest person she knows. I had to put the phone down for a minute. Compose myself. Tell her I said she's braver. She survived being a secret. That takes real strength. People still ask me if it was worth it. The public spectacle. The burned bridges. The revenge dinner that made international news. Every single time I say yes. Not because I hurt them, but because I stopped letting them hurt me. I ran into James's cousin at a coffee shop last month. Emma. One of the ones who defected to my table that night in France. Leah. Oh my God, how are you? I'm good. Really good. I heard you're in Boston now. Marketing, right? Yeah. You. Still in New York. Listen, I wanted to say, she hesitated. What you did that night. It was brave. And necessary. That family needed to be held accountable. Thank you. Vivian's charity shut down, you know. I heard. And James, he's different now. Shows up for Charlotte. Actually parents her. You changed something. I didn't do it to change him. I did it to free myself. Well, you freed a lot of us too. She hugged me before she left. I stood there for a while after, thinking about that night. About Vivian's face when she saw me. About Charlotte finally being acknowledged. About choosing myself for the first time in 5 years. Worth it? Every single second. Last week, I got an email. From a woman I'd never met. Subject line, thank you. Dear Leah, you don't know me, but I read your story last year. I was in a similar situation. Family that used me. Husband who lied. I felt trapped. Powerless. Then I read about what you did in France. And I realized I had power too. I left him. Took my kids. Started over. It's been hard, but I'm free now. I just wanted you to know that your courage gave me mine. Thank you. Sarah. I read that email 5 times. Cried every time. Because that's the thing about revenge that people don't understand. It's not about hurting someone else. It's about refusing to stay hurt. It's about taking your power back. It's about standing up and saying, I will not be erased. I'm not the woman who married into the Beaumont family anymore. Desperate for belonging. Willing to shrink. Accepting crumbs and calling it love. I'm the woman who bought the restaurant. Who exposed the lies. Who walked away with her head high and her dignity intact. They tried to erase me because I came from nothing. Because I had no family. Because they thought I'd be grateful just to sit at their table. But I learned something in that restaurant in the south of France. You don't need their table. You don't need their name. You don't need their approval. You just need to remember your own worth. And refuse to negotiate it. Ever. I walked into that dinner as the wife they forgot. I walked out as the woman they'll never forget. And Charlotte? She texts me every Sunday now. Photos of her dance recitals. Her report cards. Her life. The life she gets to live out loud now. Not as a secret. As a person. That's my real revenge. Not the dinner. Not the headlines. But this, a little girl who knows she was always worthy of being seen. Even when the people who should have loved her chose shame instead. I finally understand what I should have known all along. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up when you need them. Who celebrates you. Who refuses to let you disappear. And sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't destroying someone else's life. It's building your own. Better. Stronger. Freer. They wanted me to disappear quietly. Instead, I disappeared loudly. And built something they'll never understand. A life without them. That story just proved that you don't need a seat at their table when you can buy the whole damn restaurant. If this fired you up, if you've ever been excluded by people who should have chosen you, drop a comment below. Tell me your story. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because I've got more stories about women who refuse to be erased. See you in the next one.